Hey, it's Randy from UC Status. Today I'm going to show you a new Microsoft Teams certified meeting room camera from our friends at AVer. It's the CAM540 conferencing cam. As you can see, it's an AVer, and as you can also see that it's a webcam. It's not an ordinary desktop webcam. This is actually more of a specialty camera for use in meeting rooms, I would say. Comes with a remote, as you can see here. The remote allows you to connect up to 3 different cameras, so you can actually choose between them. It supports group framing. If there's audio going through it, you can mute it from there. Of course, the D-pad here is for pan, tilt, and zoom. You can zoom in and out. Of course, change the volume if you've got an audio source on it. You can turn off and on video, and then down here you've got a preset button that allows you to toggle between different presets. Again, if you've got it hooked up to an audio system or telephony video kind of AV system, you can answer the call or you can end, and of course you can change the brightness up and down as you see fit. You can also see here you've got a wall mounting bracket. So the wall mounting bracket is really nice and heavy. So if I just bring that forward, you can see that it's quite thick. It's probably up to 2 millimeters thick. Really, it's not flexible in any stretch of the imagination. You can see it's got screw holes that go onto the wall, and of course a way to mount it underneath. The way to mount it is to use the screws that actually come with it. You can see nice big deep flathead screw there that goes into a hole in the bottom and clips into the slot so you can fix it in place, and then another screw at the back so that it stays put. If I just carefully show you the base, the screws go into these 2 holes here and actually allow you to slide it onto the actual bracket and then fix it in place wherever you need to. Right at the front is a remote sensor, and here is a light to show you that you've got power. It actually goes blue when you're broadcasting, so when video is actually working, you can see that in blue. Normally it would be in red to indicate that it's off. Now when I pop around the back, you can see I've got some connectors. So I've got a port there for something like a Kensington lock or a PC lock, whatever they're called, a reset pinhole, a USB-C interface there, and actually a locking screw. I've got DC 12 volt for the power supply just here, and I've got a port here for an RS-232 connection. So you can actually connect this to a control system and actually add further control to it. Right, so as you can see here, I've got the USB-C cable that comes with the AVer camera. You can also see is you've got this extra kind of screw hole thing to screw it into place. I'm going to go ahead and connect these up. So first I'm going to connect the USB-C cable, and then I'm going to screw it into place to keep it nice and secure. All right, once it's in place, it goes back to its kind of default mode where it is just pointing straight ahead of itself. Now back here, I'm just going to show you the pan, tilt, and zoom. So I'm just going to pan around. You can see it's fairly quick motor. Goes almost all the way around. I'm not sure if it goes almost all the way to the back. And if I go back the other way, again, it will go all the way back to the other side. For tilt, it will actually go all the way straight up in the air. Or almost straight down. If I go ahead and press a preset, when you do the preset, it actually moves very quickly. Just do another one. You can see it has moved ever so slightly and it zoomed right the way in. So from here, if I go back to one of the other presets, you can see just how quickly it moves. So it's much quicker to go between presets than it is to just use the D-pad to do the pan, tilt, and zoom. And if I zoom, you can see camera's going all the way back. If I zoom out, you can see the camera comes all the way to the front. If I zoom out, you can see the camera goes all the way to the front. As you can see at the top there, it's a 4K zoom lens. I'll pop the stats onto the screen along with the video. And from here, I'll pause the video and show you some more features actually on the PC itself. All right, so here I'm going to show you the AVer PTZ app. It comes on the AVer website on the support page. I think it even comes in a CD in the box, but nobody has those in laptops anymore. With this utility that installs on Windows and I believe Mac, you can get at some of the settings, do some diagnostics, but you can also use this as a remote control. So as I said before, the AVer comes with a remote control, but you can use an app directly on the screen to control some certain aspects. Of course, you can tilt and pan, you can zoom in and out, you can enable and disable smart framing, you can change backlight control, just in case you have some light behind you when you want to control the noise that's generated from that. You can actually, if you've got multiple cameras on the system, you can change the binding between the two. Of course, you can also turn the camera view on and off. I'm just going to enable that really quickly, and all you can see is there's a camera in its face. Right, so with the settings, there's quite a lot of settings you can change. You can change the white balance and a bunch of other stuff besides. So for somebody in the know, you can change everything your heart desires. As you can see, I've got the camera mounted upside down. So I've used the flip here, and I've also used the mirror. So if you flip it on its head, you also have to use the mirror. Otherwise, you'll actually get a backward image of your room, which is a little bit bizarre, to say the least. You can change whether you want to enable auto framing or manual framing. I'm choosing manual framing just because I'm using it as a desktop webcam, and it really doesn't have the ideal conditions of more than 1 meter to try and frame me. And also, I like to control the frame that I'm in when I'm using it in something like Teams, for instance. You can turn on and off a smart screen menu. So what happens when you turn this on is when you select a preset, or you actually set a preset by holding down the preset button for a few seconds, it will actually pop up on the screen that the next action you need to do is to press a preset key. So that's quite good. You can change the autofocus from PTZ to continuous. PTZ, I think, is a little bit better. It's a little more smooth. Continuous just means that it's always trying to compensate depending on your movement. You can enable and disable hotkey control. So with this, you can turn it on, but also then set a bunch of hotkeys to do specific things, like change preset positions and that kind of thing. You can choose your home position and your sleep position, as I said, so you can change between 1 and 10, for instance, for any of those, and set it to wherever you want in the room. And you can set it to go to sleep. I've got mine to set to go to sleep after 20 minutes. I may actually want to reduce that down, so I'm just going to set that to 5 minutes and then press save. There's also a diagnostic utility, so you can actually test the camera and do some additional troubleshooting. You can do firmware updates and all of that sort of jazz. Right, okay, for demonstration purposes, I'm just going to show you what it's like to go and change between presets. So right now I'm on preset 1, and I'm just going to press the remote to another preset, and you'll see just how quickly it springs into action, moves around, and zooms. And then I select preset 5, and the camera is already there. The app itself is lagging behind, but I can assure you the camera got there within a second or two. pretty quick when it wants to be. Okay, and that was it. That was my little tour of the AVer CAM540. I thought I'd take you through the support page just to show you some additional stuff. You can see it's certified for Skype for Business, for Teams, Zoom, Google Meet, and it was a Red Dot Award winner in 2019, which is quite cool. It's got quick links down to the features, the specs, resources, FAQ, and the download center. If I just quickly take you over to the download center, you can see you've got firmware updates, release notes, user manuals, tech guides, something called the AVer plugin, which I haven't actually tried yet. And then if you go to the software add-ons page and filter by PTZ app, that's where you can actually get the PTZ app, as you can see, for Mac and for PC. Back to the main page. If I scroll down a little, it's got some inline images. This is a great little video that shows you the smart framing feature. All right, so I'm just going to narrate this quickly so you can see you've got manual framing is enabled by default. But if you touch this button on the remote control, that will turn on smart framing. So what smart framing does is it finds a person in the room and it zooms in to the smartest frame that it can find to frame that one person. As more people enter the room, you can see you've got people to his right and left. The camera will find those people and it will zoom out and frame all three of them. And it will continue to do so as more people are added to the room. You can see you got more people coming in to the right and left. It will find a person and it will frame all of them. So as I said, it is 4K Ultra HD at 30 frames per second, which is pretty good. 16 times total zoom, it's called. It just means that it's 4 times optical, 4 times digital to give you a combined 16 times zoom. So I actually showed you most of these specs during the recording phase. I'll just scroll quickly through these and highlight a couple of things. As I said, it's 4K at 30 frames per second, 16 times zoom. It's got an 86-degree field of view. It does autofocus at a working distance of 1 meter. It does some compensation for backlight, so if you've got a window behind you, it'll do plus and minus 160 degrees of pan, 90 degrees of tilt up, and 30 degrees down. And it's got 10 presets. It works on Windows, Mac, and Chromebook. As I said, it's got a Kensington lock interface at the back. Supports USB 3.1. For control, you got the PTZ app. The actual, it's got the infrared remote control, and of course it's got VISCA, Pelco P and Pelco D via the RS-232 interface on the back. This is pretty cool. So I showed you on the remote control, you've got the hang up, mute, and answer buttons. So if you're using the Skype consumer app, you can actually answer a call, hang up a call, mute, volume up and down, actually controlling the Skype meeting itself, which is pretty cool. So you can see it's quite a hefty webcam at 1.5 kilos. It's not your typical desktop webcam that weighs just a few ounces, but it's got a hefty motor inside for going particularly fast between presets, zooming and that kind of thing. So I think it needs to be and kind of deserves to be a bit hefty there. As I said, it's got a 3-year standard warranty, which is extendable by 2 years, and any accessories like the remote control is a standard 1 year. All these compatible applications, Teams should be added to this list as well, but of course it's not, as you saw above, that it is actually certified. And then links to additional resources. I'll make sure I put links to these in the actual recording itself, so be sure to scroll down and have a click. And that's it. Thank you ever so much for watching. If you have found this useful, take a moment to like and share, and I'll see you next time on another episode of Ditch the Box.